Alright, get ready for part 6 of my album collection. These are all the albums that I have in my cubbies here. We're going to talk about the bottom cubby over here behind me. This one holds a lot of the progressive rock from the 70s that weren't included within my Genesis, Yes, or King Crimson albums. Some of these go pretty deep within the progressive rock scene of that era. So let's get started. And the first one I'm going to be talking about isn't necessarily a progressive rock artist, but that is of Frank Zappa. And this is the only actual LP that I have from him. I know my dad has a few other ones. But that is of Hot Rats. This is my favorite album from him. From there, we go into the actual bands that really define what progressive rock was. And first up, we have Emerson, Lake and Palmer with their first album. Then we have their second album of Tarkus. This holds one of the first full-length, like one-side track of the title track of Tarkus. Then we have their live performance of Pictures at an Exhibition. This is probably my favorite work from them. What they do to interpret a lot of the songs are just fantastic. Then we have Trilogy, probably one of my favorite studio recordings from the band, definitely underrated. But we also have their Brain Salad Surgeries, and I love the artwork. Like, I love this artist. He does a lot of other works for like Alien and whatnot. Just so trippy and so amazing. Then I have their live recording of Welcome Back My Friends to the Show That Never Ends. Then we go into my Pink Floyd collection, and we start off with the Piper at the Gates of Dawn. That's when Syd Barrett was still with the band, as well as A Saucer Full of Secrets. Again, Syd Barrett just was about to leave on that one, but he didn't. Then we have Relics, and we also have their live recording studio album of Amagama. The studio recording is still just completely insane, but I love the live renditions. Then we have my favorite album from the group, Atom Heart Mother, and this is one of those albums that I love so much that I actually picked up the re-release of this. Then I have the soundtrack to More. Again, this is a re-release. I'm still kind of trying to find the original, but I am still glad that I have that. Then I have Metal. Watch out, because I might be doing a review for this one very, very soon in honor of my dad's birthday, so keep your eyes out for that if I haven't already done it. Then I have Obscured by Clouds, the second soundtrack that the band did. From there, no record collection at this point would be complete without Dark Side of the Moon. This is the re-release because it is nearly impossible to find the original recording of this, as well as the re-release of Wish You Were Here. I keep it in this packaging just to keep the whole essence of the album there. I also have Animals, and this is the original pressing on this, so the album's a little bit worse for wear, but the actual recording is still pristine. I then have The Wall, and this is the original recording, as well as I picked up the re-recording of this, because the one, I misplaced one of the albums. I don't know exactly where it is, so I had to pick up the other one to complete it. I also have the Final Cut, arguably Roger Waters' first solo project. Yeah, this one didn't have Richard Wright on it. I know he and Roger Waters at the time were not on solid ground, and so this one definitely feels like it is a Roger Waters project as opposed to a Pink Floyd project. Then I have the compilation of a selection of great dance songs, and then I have Momentary Lapse of Reason. This only has David Gilmour and Nick Mason, and so I know that there was a lot of dispute about even releasing this with Roger Waters and whatnot, seeing that only half the band was really at the band's forefront, but Wright still lent a few keys on it. He's not really credited all that much, but at least, you know, it's an interesting and overlooked album at this point. But Wright did come back for the Division Bells. I love this album. Very interesting take on things, and by that point things had kind of calmed down within the Pink Floyd family. Then we also have the last recording that we had from them, kind of a posthumous album for the band. I'll say it's a posthumous album for Pink Floyd, with The Endless River. And for the solo project of David Gilmour, I have Rattle That Lock. From Pink Floyd, we go into Jethro Tull. Thick as a Brick is a must-have. I don't have Aqualung at the moment, but Thick as a Brick is a fantastic work. From Thick as a Brick, we go into Passion Play. I keep going back and forth as to which one I like more. I think I like Thick as a Brick more as a song, and Passion Play more as an album. Just because Thick as a Brick is more unified, Passion Play is a little bit more disjointed, but some of the pieces on here I like more than some of the pieces on Thick as a Brick, if that makes any sense. From there, we go into War Child, a very interesting album, a little bit more heavy, but a lot of fun. Then we have Songs from the Wood, definitely a much more folky side of things. Then we have Heavy Horses. I love, actually, the title track of this song very, very much. From Jethro Tull, we go into Vandergraaf Generator, a fantastic electric take on things. Much more of a raw approach. And Pawn Hearts, the first one here, has one of my favorite songs of Plague of the Lighthouse Keeper, I believe it is. Then we have God Bluff. The last song of Sleepwalkers has one of my favorite moments in progressive rock history. Just beautiful. Then we have Still Life, probably my favorite album actually from them. La Rosa, as well as I believe it's Child. Pilgrims and Still Life, amazing. And then the final track of Child's Faith in Childhood's End. Really, really some deep, deep stuff in there. Then I have a world record. This actually is not for sale. It's a kind of a special edition kind of thing. The last song of the Mowgli 3, the Songwriters Guild. It's chopped up a little bit because of this promotional album, but it's still a great addition. From there, we go into... Now, it's supposed to be kind of like that. Gentle Giant. This is Three Friends. I'm still looking for Acquiring the Taste and the original Gentle Giant. Really, really hard to find those two albums, but I have Three Friends, as well as Octopus. I think Three Friends is probably my favorite. Octopus, a very, very close second. From there, Power and the Glory, but it's actually supposed to be more like this. Sandwiched between two beautiful albums, which is The Free Hand. Then we come into The Glass House. Very interesting, or In a Glass House. Very, very strange song album, but a lot of these albums from Gentle Giant are just strange, and strange in a good way. I really enjoy it. Then we have their live album, which is just the official Gentle Giant Live. From Gentle Giant, we have more kind of jazzy, experimental, crazy prog with Return to Forever. This one is Hymns of the Seventh Galaxy. My friend and I kind of joke in saying that Return to Forever was a jazz band first, saw what progressive rock was doing and saying, guys, we got this. I do have the Romantic Warrior up at the cottage, so I keep the Hymn of the Seventh Galaxy here in the city. Camel, this is their Mirage, kind of the North American release. I know Mirage has a different cover, but I really like the Dragon Camel on that. Very, very fun. From there we come into one of their more popular ones, which is Snow Goose, and I love that it's a purely instrumental album that is a concept album based off of the short novel or novella of the Snow Goose. Then we have Moon Madness, my final album from Camel, and I love this album. I love the first song off the second side. The bass line on that song is just so grooving, I just can't help but love it. From there we go into some krautrock, or at least some more progressive krautrock with Triumvirat. This is Mediterranean Tales Across the Waters. I don't have Illusion on a Double Dimple, which is just what I realized. Illusion on a Double Dimple is one of my favorite albums, and that one really grew my love for progressive rock when I was in high school. But this one is actually my favorite album from them, which is Old Love Dies Hard. This one is very similar to a Emerson, Lake and Palmer album of Brain Salad Surgery. And then we have the new Triumvirat with Pompeii. The ending of this album is just heartbreaking. From there we have Renaissance with their Ashes Are Burning, the last two tracks on this album. So good. Then we have Turn of the Cards. Then we have my favorite album from them, Scheherazade and Other Stories. And then I have Live at Carnegie Hall, where the final disc only has 2 tracks, and it's the longest I've seen a track be, with Scheherazade being 28 minutes. I've never seen a song being that long. And hey, talking about Return to Forever, here's the Romantic Warrior. It just kind of got sandwiched. I'll have to rearrange that. But anyway, Return to Forever, Romantic Warrior isn't at the cottage. It's here in my collection. But then we come to a very underrated artist, and that is Griffin. I've already covered this on one of my Masterpiece Theaters. Red Queen to Griffin 3 is just a masterpiece. All 4 songs on this are masterpieces. You have to listen to it if you haven't already. Then we have some Italian with, I can never pronounce it, so I always just go to PFM. The World Became the World. The last track on this song blows my mind every time I listen to it. I can't help but love it. Then we come into a French-Canadian band of Harmonium. These guys are just fantastic. This is their first album. Their second album is probably my favorite from them. The entire thing is a work of art. These guys will be featured definitely for a Masterpiece Theater. This album is 100% a masterpiece. Then we come into their third album. This was recently re-released. It's my second favorite album from the band. I actually like their second album a little bit more. This one is much more atmospheric, less concrete and tangible. The album cover itself really gives a great depiction of what's to be found in it. It's very airy and very, again, atmospheric. Then we have Rick Wakeman's first band, and that was the Straubs. I don't think he's actually on this one, but this is their more famous album of Hero and Heroine. Very interesting stuff. From there, we go into more of the experimental stuff, and that is Jean-Michel Jarre's. This is his kind of his most famous one of Oxygen. Then we have Equinox, his second most famous work. Then Oxygen 3. This is the one that he just released, and it is just beautiful. And then we come into the last artist that's being featured within this, and that is Mike Oldfield, the first album being Tubular Bells. Next one is Hargis Ridge. Really interesting stuff on this one. The last track on this just it blows me away when it comes out. Then we have my favorite work from him of Omadon. Omadon, or Return to Omadon, is becoming one of my favorite albums actually from him. And then finally we have 5 Miles Out. And so that's about it. That's all I've got in the cubby directly behind me here. Next up, I'll be talking about kind of the leftovers. The 2 bottom parts that we have in here, the ones that you can't see just behind these 2, feature more of the albums that I just inherited that I'm not a big fan of. So I'll skip those, but I will at least talk about the ones that are directly below this one here. They don't get a whole lot of play, but they are still some fantastic songs. So that's about it. Tell me which album from this batch you like the most, which was the most surprising, which one did you connect with the most. And this was also in honor of my 1000th subscriber, so thank you guys so much for that. I'm having a blast really talking about the albums that I have here. But that's about it from me. What did you guys think? Let me know of your own comments down below. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. You guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out!